Let's start off by going back to the basics. At its core, a theme is a set of PHP files that tells WordPress what information you want to show and how you want to show it. All this gets processed behind the scenes and displayed by your website in standard HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you look at one of the template PHP files, you'll see HTML mixed in with some of the PHP functions. Some of it might look confusing at first, but once you start to understand what the different functions do, it's pretty easy to follow. In addition to PHP page template files, a WordPress theme can contain lots of other stuff. It can hold other PHP files with various functions. It'll generally have your site's CSS files and any JavaScript files you want to run, and it may even include things like images and font files. Themes can also hold Gutenberg blocks, which are really nothing more than standalone JavaScript, CSS, and sometimes PHP components. As we work through our project, you'll see how this all comes together, so don't worry about it too much for right now. Technically speaking, WordPress wants a clear separation of interests between functionality and display. What that means is that anything that adds site functionality, such as custom post types, custom functions, etc., should go into a plugin, while anything that controls the look and feel of the site should live in a theme. This is great in theory, since it would theoretically allow you to switch out any theme for any other theme and still show everything on your site the way you want. Practically speaking, though, especially for purpose-built themes, it may make sense for you to simply do everything inside your theme rather than manage the theme and plugins separately. For the purposes of our course, I'm going to do everything inside our theme. Just know that this won't pass validation if you're planning to distribute your theme in the WordPress repository. You may have run across the term child theme. This refers to a small, almost shell of a theme that relies on a parent theme's capabilities to function. A lot of commercial themes use this parent-child relationship to allow designers and developers to extend their theme without affecting the core theme files. Things like custom functions, CSS, JavaScript images, and more can all go into those child themes. This allows the parent theme to be managed separately so that updates to the parent don't overwrite changes made to the child. The other concept is a starter theme, which is what we're going to be creating in this course. A starter theme has the core features of the theme defined, so you can make a copy of it and build out exactly what you need for your project. This is the model that popular themes like Underscores and Sage use. Traditionally, WordPress themes were written in PHP. The data was stored in pages and posts using the classic editor and/or custom fields, and the look of the site was all defined using PHP. This left a huge gap in WordPress for regular users and designers who wanted to create and edit the look of their site, but who didn't want to program everything. This gap was filled by SaaS solutions by Wix and Squarespace, and by WordPress page builders like Divi, Elementor, and Beaver Builder. In 2018, WordPress released the Gutenberg block editor to replace the classic editor. This gave editors the ability to style the content of pages and posts using blocks and block controls, but it didn't do much to help them create or edit their themes. Gutenberg had a rough start because the features were so limited, especially compared to page builders and third-party website services. Over time, the block editor matured. Core WordPress blocks got more refined and added missing features. Third-party block plugins did a great job of filling in the gaps by adding tons of capability and styling controls. Themes such as Astra, Cadence, and GeneratePress also began adding features to let users control the overall styling and layout of the site using blocks. WordPress 5.9 introduced the concept of full site editing and block themes in 2021. The goal was to allow WordPress users to control every aspect of their website, from the page templates to the navigation bar, using the block editor. The promise was aspirational and, like the launch of Gutenberg in 2018, disappointing. In fact, the block-based site editor even displayed the beta label in the WordPress admin dashboard until version 6.2. It was clear that WordPress saw blocks and the block-based site editor as a future of WordPress, but it was just as clear that it wasn't quite ready yet. At the same time as blocks were maturing and the full-site block editor was being refined, so were page builders. Products like Oxygen and Bricks allow developers and advanced users to have nearly complete control over the website's look and feel using visual editors. New products like Quickly, which effectively transformed the block editor into a page builder, emerged. And leaders like Cadence, GenerateBlocks, and Astra continued to improve on the capabilities that they added to classic themes. At the time of this course, in March 2023, we're on the cusp of WordPress 6.2 being released and the beta label being lifted from the block-based site editor. Nearly all themes are still classic themes while the WordPress site editor matures. And, aside from very small and simple websites, nearly all websites that WordPress agencies produce are still built with either classic themes or page builders. All this is to say that classic themes aren't going anywhere. There are still things that classic themes can do that blocks themes can't, and the WordPress site editor still has a lot of maturing left to go. If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say that we aren't going to see widespread adoption of the site editor until at least 2025, and it may be several more years before we see semi-complex sites adopt full site editing. If you used modern page builders or site builders, some of what we are going to cover will look familiar to you. With page builders, you have the option to edit your pages directly or to edit the page templates and theme sections of your site. Those page builders control so much of the look and feel on the site, in fact, that the themes that you use with them tend to be very minimalistic. For example, the Elementor page builder can control the site's typography, color palette, template files, and even the site's header and footer areas. Some of these page builders have default settings or configurable settings for every page or template type, so you can use them straight out of the box, or you can modify them as you see fit. Other page builders, especially the more advanced developer-focused ones, give you a blank slate and require you to create each of the templates yourself. What we are building, however, is a native WordPress theme that isn't going to rely on third-party page builders at all. In fact, it will be completely standalone and can be moved from one site to any other site without any other dependencies. The difference between what a page builder offers and what we're building today doesn't look that big, but once we dive in, you'll start to see the differences. Traditionally, themes are created with a code editor such as VS Code or PHP Storm. A developer would create a local instance of WordPress with some dummy data or a copy of the production site, then would build the theme using PHP directly on the file system. Once they were finished working, the developer would package the theme into a zip file and install it just like we're used to doing with any other theme. What Pinegrow does is it lets you concentrate on building the HTML and CSS without worrying about the PHP. Once you have your page, template, or block looking the way you want with placeholder data, you add WordPress actions to the elements to tell Pinegrow that you want to replace the placeholders with information from within WordPress. Those WordPress actions do the difficult and tedious job of writing the functions for you and converting your HTML into PHP or React. I'm skipping a lot of details like version control, dependency managers, compilers, and other things because they're well beyond the scope of this course. I wanted to point out this workflow, however, because it's similar to the one that we're going to be using.